Most crimes are solved through hard work, detective hours, interviews, evidence, patience. But sometimes, none of that matters. Sometimes criminals are caught because of one random moment, a casual decision, a question that didn't need to be asked, a mistake no one thought would matter. In this video, we're counting down 5 crimes that were solved entirely by accident, cases where investigators weren't getting closer, until something unexpected changed everything. These criminals weren't sloppy, they weren't reckless. Some of them thought they were untouchable. We're ranking these cases by shock value, meaning how close they were to getting away with it, how random the turning point was, and how unbelievable the final mistake turned out to be. We're starting with number 5 and ending with the case that completely changed how crimes are solved forever. John List murdered his family on November 9, 1971. What makes this case disturbing isn't just the crime. It's the planning. List meticulously killed his wife, mother, and 3 children inside their home. He then cleaned the scene, fed the family's pets, and turned on a radio to make the house sound occupied. Before leaving, List wrote letters explaining his actions, blaming financial stress and religious beliefs. He believed he was saving his family's souls. Then he vanished. For nearly 2 decades, John List lived under a new name. He remarried, attended church, worked stable jobs. He wasn't hiding in fear. He was living comfortably. Police had nothing, no financial trail, no confirmed sightings, no mistakes. By the late 1980s, the case was considered unsolvable. Then America's Most Wanted featured it. A forensic artist created a bust imagining what List might look like after nearly 20 years. The bust was disturbingly accurate. A viewer recognized him. That single phone call unraveled nearly 2 decades of freedom. Gary Ridgway murdered dozens of women throughout the 1980s and 1990s. Police interviewed him early. He failed a polygraph, but passed another. Evidence pointed toward him, but nothing could be proven. Ridgway kept killing. What's unsettling is how confident he became. Ridgway reportedly believed police were incompetent. He once said he chose victims no one would miss. For years, he was right. Evidence existed. Hair samples, fluids, fibers. But DNA science wasn't advanced enough to connect it definitively. Then the 1990s ended. By the early 2000s, DNA testing had improved dramatically. Old evidence was re-examined, new comparisons were made. In 2001, Ridgway was arrested. He confessed to 48 murders, possibly more. Ted Bundy is often described as one of the most intelligent and manipulative serial killers in American history. He was charming, articulate, and capable of blending seamlessly into society. But despite that reputation, his capture didn't begin with advanced profiling, surveillance, or a task force closing in. It began with something almost painfully ordinary. In 1974, a police officer in Utah noticed a man driving suspiciously late at night. Nothing dramatic, no active bolo, just behavior that didn't feel right. The officer pulled the car over. Inside the vehicle, police found items that immediately raised red flags: handcuffs, a ski mask, rope burglary tools. At the time, Bundy wasn't known as a serial killer, but the contents of the car were enough to justify further investigation. This traffic stop didn't solve the case instantly, but it cracked the door open. Soon after, witnesses began connecting Bundy to disappearances. A composite sketch circulated. His name came up again and again. Slowly, a pattern emerged. What makes Bundy's case especially unsettling is how close he came to avoiding capture entirely. Even after being arrested, Bundy escaped custody. Twice. Once from a courthouse window, once from jail itself. Each escape led to more victims. It wasn't until his final arrest in Florida that Bundy was permanently stopped. Dennis Rader terrorized Wichita, Kansas under the name BTK, bind, torture, kill. Unlike impulsive killers, Rader was methodical. He planned his crimes carefully and spaced them out over long periods of time. He studied police behavior. He followed news coverage. He adjusted his methods. Then he stopped. For years, BTK went silent. Many investigators believed he had died or moved away. But Rader was still there. He had a job, a family, a leadership role in his church. He lived an ordinary life while carrying the knowledge that he had gotten away with murder. What eventually exposed him wasn't police pressure. It was ego. Rader missed the attention. In the early 2000s, he began sending letters to the media and police again. He taunted investigators, mocked them, demanded recognition. Then he asked a question that would end everything. Rader asked police whether a floppy disk could be traced back to its source. Police responded that it couldn't. That response was a lie. Rader believed them. When he sent the disk, investigators immediately recovered metadata linking it to a computer at his church, and ultimately to Dennis Rader himself. He was arrested in 2005 without resistance. During his confession, Rader appeared stunned. He genuinely believed he had been smarter than everyone. Joseph James D'Angelo committed dozens of crimes across California under multiple identities, including the original Night Stalker. For decades, investigators knew one thing: they had DNA. But DNA alone wasn't enough. There was no suspect database large enough to compare it against. The evidence sat dormant for years, a silent reminder of crimes no one could solve. D'Angelo aged. He stopped offending. He lived quietly. He worked as a mechanic. He blended in completely. Then in 2018, investigators tried something radical. They uploaded crime scene DNA to a public genealogy website, a platform designed for hobbyists building family trees, not for police investigations. The move was controversial, risky, unproven. It worked. Investigators built a massive family tree, tracing relatives across generations. Slowly, they narrowed the pool until only a few possible suspects remained. D'Angelo was placed under surveillance. Police collected discarded DNA from his trash. It matched. He was arrested without ever realizing he was under investigation. What makes this case different from all the others is this: D'Angelo didn't make a mistake. He didn't speak. He didn't leave new evidence. The world changed around him. Today, genealogy databases are used in cold cases across the country, all because of this one investigation. 5 criminals. 5 near-perfect crimes, all undone by accident. Which case shocked you the most? Because the scariest part isn't how long they got away with it. It's how close they came to never being caught at all. If you want a part 2, let me know in the comments. And subscribe for more stories where one moment changes everything.